Alright, guys. Today we're going to talk about stop telling people what to do. Most people think that they can just tell the people to do for God knows what reason. And I think they get this idea from TV where they see it on TV, they see it on the movies, they see it on video games. So they think they can just go around telling other people what to do. Now, the thing is, what they forget is that stuff, they're all getting paid to do that stuff. TV, those movie actors, those video games, all that is pre-set up. So what that means essentially is that their frames are being paid for. Everyone's playing a role and everyone's agreeing to terms because they're getting paid. Even the people, even the slaves on the movies, they're not that way in real life. If you talk to them in real life and like tell them like to boss them around, tell them what to do, they're gonna look at you kind of weird, like, uh, sorry, no. So this is obviously situational as well. Sometimes you kind of just tell people what to do in the sense of like, hey, hey, can you get that pen for me? Like in the workplace, it's a little trickier because you're with the other person for that whole extension of that period for like 5 to 8, 9 hours or however many hours it is. But like in real life, no one really should be telling people what to do because we all live our own lives and we are the main star of our own character. So when someone else is telling you what to do, this is disrespectful on so many levels. I almost don't even want to like explain it, but telling people what to do is a big negative. Big negative. And that's because you're telling them that you think you know more than they do. You're right off the bat, you're saying I know more than you. Two, you're bossing them around. That gets them defensive. Three, you're pretty much saying you're superior to them by telling them what to do. So it's kind of like it's just disrespectful on so many levels. I think they get that idea from TV where they see it, like they see this leader, this charismatic leader, and they see that, oh, hey, I want to do that in real life too. But what they forget is that that's a movie. In real life, if you want slaves, you gotta pay people for that. That's called having a job, right? If you want someone to do something for you, you have to pay something in return. This is called a cost. Every action has a cost. No one is doing anything for free because everybody is looking out. Well, every organism, every living creature is doing more of something in order to survive. And what that is, they want to get more money, more resources, and more sex. So essentially, what is this action or task doing for me to get more money, more sex, and the food? The list goes on. Like there's a lot of things that this ties into, but this action is giving me this, and that benefit. So if they're not getting a benefit from it, they're not gonna be they're not gonna be happy. Like just kind of like they're not gonna want to follow orders. It doesn't really make sense. Now, again, like in the workplace, this is kind of tricky because sometimes you just say, hey, can you just hey change that text to this and that and that. It's a little trickier in the workplace, but you still try to adopt the same attitude. You kind of respect that they are there, and you kind of try not to boss them around, but you can still be directive. You can still be like if you're the boss, you can still be directive. Like that's acceptable. But there's a certain point where if you're like a tyrant, that's a negative, unless you're paying them good money. Because people do things for what's in their best interest. if the pros outweigh the cons, then they will take the action, perform the task, or whatnot. And if it's too much of a cost and they're not getting any sort of benefit, that's a bad trade. They're going to go away. That's a given. This goes in with our human relationships as well. If you are, I mean, this one is obvious in human relationships. Like we do this very impulsively and very naturally. So, say for example, people that you meet randomly, you know that right off the bat that whether or not you want to be with them because of what they're exchanging with you. Now, obviously, if you don't, then you're not going to be with them. And we do this very, very automatically where we surround ourselves with people who benefit us and we move away from people who don't benefit us, who stress us out, annoy us, bother us, or whatever kind of negative word you want to add here. So we move towards a positive, some sort of benefit. If they're not benefiting you, you go away. And it's like that process there is also a trade. I'm trading my time for your time, and we're having a mutual fun experience. Now, all right. So basically, don't just stop telling people what to do. That's a big negative. That doesn't even make sense. Now, what you could do instead is make a recommendation. Hey, would you like to go to the store with me? Hey, would you like to hang out with me? Hey, you want to play some basketball with me? And you can still adopt the leadership mindset. Well, you'll still be the leader. It's just that you're using a different phrase to create the same effect. And guys have this kind of problem because they think a leader needs to um, say like certain things a certain way. So they get very stuck on this concept of what a leader says. But it's more so the effect rather than like what they're saying. So if you saying, hey bro, you wanna go to the store with me? And they tell you okay, that's you being the leader, you initiating that event, and then they follow, they're the followers, right? So that's kind of what ends up happening. Now another thing you can do to be a leader is just create your own environment, create your own events. This way that you are automatically the leader. People are accepting the fact that they're going to be following. They're going to be listening and they're going to be following. That happens naturally and automatically. That's why they're there for. They're there to listen and to hear what the speaker has to say because they want to learn what the person has to say. So this is kind of like an unconscious agreement, but well, I guess you could go unconscious agreement. It's a decision. They are agreeing to this and they're getting this, and the leader is teaching these people or whatever it is, and then they're just doing whatever. So I don't know. I don't even know how to explain this. Well, I do. So it's kind of obvious. It's kind of I almost don't even want to explain it. But okay, church. The leader is the pastor, explaining to the people. The flock is the people following what the pastor's saying, the pastor's teaching, and that's basically kind of how that works. Because the people who are following there are not going to be making the rules. They're just going to be following the instructions or following the teachings. Because by default, the pastor is automatically the leader. That's just how it works. Anyways, okay, let's see. I think I pretty much said everything here. Just 90% of the time, you shouldn't be telling people what to do. That's highly disrespectful on so many different levels that it just doesn't even make sense. You make a recommendation, you make a suggestion, you make an offer. It's kind of like when you get like someone knocking on your door and they tell you, "Hey, you want to come to my church?" And they start like preaching, and you're like, "No, get away." That's kind of what happens when people are telling other people to do. You're naturally making them defensive. That's a big negative. Like the way you would do that is that you start soft and then you ramp it up and then you close it. So you start soft. Are you interested in XYZ? Ramp, 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 and then at some point you close it. But you don't tell people what to do. That's a big negative. Now again, this is very situational, but 90% of the time you shouldn't be telling anybody what to do. We all have our lives and we're all the star of our own life. And in a different video, I'm going to say what to do instead. What's even better and what's even more effective than telling people what to do. That's all I got for you on this video. If you want more hacks to life, secrets to reality, visit me on prosperitylife.com.